You know, the Slayer King has an interesting conundrum. He must fulfill his Slayer oath someday, but at the same time, he has to lead his kingdom. And, just some regular fulfillment of the Slayer oath won't do. No, it must be something befitting the title of a king, of course. So what better way to attempt to fulfill that oath than against the Ever-Chosen himself? Here we go, Dwarfs versus Warriors of Chaos. Let's get to it. Ungrim leading the way here. We've got 3 units of Thunderers, Miners with blasting charges, and some very brave Vanguarded Rangers here. Of course, a Gyro Bomber. Slayers in the back line, including the Dragonback Slayers, that cannon opening up. We're going to go after these Marauder Horsemen here, as they are the biggest danger to the Gyrocopter. For the rest of the Ever-Chosen's forces, he himself on foot here, honestly pretty good against the Dwarves. He's got heavy armor piercing, shield, great combat stats, a couple units of Chosen with great weapons in the flanks, and some Chaos Marauders with great weapons through the center. We've got a single Gore-Beast Chariot and some Chaos Knights with lances, which is a nice pick. You can see, again, just mainly focusing the Rangers and the cannon both at taking out these Marauder Horsemen so that the bomber is relatively safe up in the air. And we're just going to stick in cinematic mode as these horsemen continue to get shelled here. And I have to say, was playing a little bit of the United Provinces campaign on the Empire Total War. That's the Netherlands, for those of you unfamiliar. Very, very fun. I have to say, the cav in that game just gets wrecked by artillery, which, I mean, cannons versus cavalry, it's pretty fitting what happens. And this game, honestly, does a pretty good job of recreating that as well. You can see here, especially like these side shots through a unit will just kill so many unit models, and it's absolutely brutal for units of cavalry, like traditional cavalry, whether they be light or heavy. Just absolutely savage, just like that. Oh man, another guy goes for a ride there. Whoop, bit of a swing and a miss there, but Dawi artillery doing quite well. You can see the Chaos player a little bit broken up on the advance here, but definitely still some killing tools left. Those Gore-Beast Chariots are looking a little bit dangerous here. Archaon himself, of course, unleashing a Burning Head isn't going to do a ton of those miners. Probably, honestly, would have been better off to use along the line of Thunderers there. But, yeah, you can see the Marauder Horsemen still pretty hell-bent on trying to take down that Gyro Bomber, understandably. Meanwhile, over here, these Marauders don't even get into the fight, having taken too many blasting charges and Ranger shots to the face. These Rangers have been doing a great job just kind of maneuvering around the battlefield, providing a nice little mobile firing squad, almost like Skirmish Cav, but, not at all like Skirmish Cav. Meanwhile, on the front line, fire and flames, Archaon's forces charging through. Gore-Beast Chariot immediately just gets lit up by all 3 units of Thunderers and the Gyro Bomber, which has already done substantial damage there, and yeah, it's pretty much done for before it even makes contact. The Chaos Knights are another story, though. They get a great charge into this backline here, just walloping that unit of Thunderers. Granted, they will hold out for some time because Dawi leadership, but we're missing the main tail of the tape here as Ungrim Iron Fist holds Archaon in place here on the front line so that his missile units can get the work done. Unfortunately, it's not going particularly well for the Slayer King, and he is about to meet his end here at the hands of Archaon. Very, very low on HP. But what do you guys think? Is this going to be a fulfillment of the Slayer Oath? I mean, taking down, or at least helping to hold down, the Ever-Chosen as the rest of his army triumphs. And that's it. To a shield bash, I don't know if that's worthy of the Slayer Oath, but at the very least, he's held Archaon for some time. The Gyro Bomber's honestly done a ton of damage to Archaon himself. I'm going to continue to focus fire there. These Chaos Knights are now going to draw the fire of that cannon, and I'm redeploying some of my Thunderers into the back line, throwing in the last line of units. The last unit of Slayers, seeing their king go down, are going to charge in on these Chaos Knights here, and if I can take them down, that's more or less the last threat. The Chaos Knights going after the appropriate target, though. They will be able to clean up those Rangers quite quickly because of the lack of armor there in comparison to other Dwarf units, but oh, that brutal cannon shot right through the side of the unit there. That Dawi cannon paying dividends at this point, and I am missing a bombing run over in the distance as the Gyro Bomber unleashes its load over this blob here, which has both Chosen and Marauders. Obviously, will do much more damage to the Marauders. The Chosen will take relatively little, but fortunately, probably going to rout off those Dwarf Warriors. The Longbeards charging in here now. Yeah. Looking pretty good. Archaon himself still online, but those Chaos Knights have been seen off by Slayers and Cannon Fire, and that has left the Rangers relatively secure. There are still 2 units of Chosen with Grey Weapons just cutting through whatever they can get a hold of, which has been quite a few Dawi units. These guys, let's see, 42 kills here for the other guys, 99 and climbing, so pretty rough stuff. Marauders come in to try and shut down the Dawi cannon, but we're just going to turn and crossfire with these Thunderers here. Oh, from the side door with the steel chair. Chosen coming in. Oh man, that decapitation though. Absolutely brutal stuff. But yeah, unfortunately Archaon's here. He's fighting still, but again, just being held down while the bomber rains fire from above. It does a surprising amount of damage to him, and he is just not happy. Down to 1,700 hit points. And these Thunderers all trying to get a crossfire despite the Ever-Chosen on his Chosen. Over here, this other unit of Chosen still cutting through units on the far side, but the Dragonback Slayer is going to run in with their elite stats and greater numbers in this late game, especially with the support of those Rangers. I'm confident they can win there. Taking a few axes to the Gyro Bomber, but it's mostly paid for itself at this point, especially with the damage done to Archaon himself. I have to say, the Gyro Bomber up close like this, even shooting infantry-sized targets, will do a lot of damage, and it actually gives the Dawi like a kind of a way of Lord sniping a little bit, especially because people tend not to bring, you know, big monster powerhouse Lords against the Dwarves, which is probably the thing the Gyro Bomber's the weakest against, honestly. Like, the lower the HP of the Lord, whether he's on foot or on like a horse-sized creature, the Gyro Bomber just does better and better. It looks like Archaon's going to admit defeat there. And yeah, it will be a victory for the Dawi, so what do you think? Comment down below if you think that's a worthy fulfillment of the Slayer Oath there for Ungrim Iron Fist to fall to Archaon himself, thereby enabling his army to carry the day to victory and no doubt finish off the Chaos Invasion. Definitely credit to both the Cannon and the Gyro Bomber, though. Cannon, of course, doing a ton of damage to the Marauder Horsemen, allowing the Bomber to then get in, take out Archaon himself, do a lot of damage to the Gorby's chariots as well. The bombs also playing a very key role, helping to bomb out some of these Marauders. For the rest of my army, Thunderers definitely did okay, one of them even getting an XP chevron, helping to support against various armored units. And yeah, definitely very fun and thematic battle. From Chaos' side, this is one of the reasons why I like Big Bird so much in this matchup, is just, I mean, even an infantry-sized Lord who you think might be relatively immune to missile snipes, I mean, Sigvald's probably honestly the safest pick in that department, but is he really that great against the Dwarves? Big Bird, on the other hand, has some really, really good synergy against the Dwarves, so, of course, Plague of Rust is going to be great, you know, tearing armor away from dwarf units and just sort of focusing your build almost around that in a way allows you to do some different things. So rather than taking great weapon units, I tend to take shielded units in this matchup and just try and tear away the armor instead. So I've talked about this before, but Searing Doom, Plague of Rust, of course, for the armor sundering. Transmutation of Lead also decent here. It's not as good at it as it is in other matchups, just because Dawi don't have many melee attack buffs, tend to have relatively low melee attack in general, so really their missile damage is where they're going to get you. So I don't always take Transmutation of Lead here. Sometimes I do, but let's see. So from here we've got our sort of elite line of the Mirror Guard with the 2 units of Chosen. For additional armor sundering, I like to have the weird spawn. You do have to watch out for Slayers and stuff, but they have a little bit of physical resistance, which helps against missiles. Marauders do allow you to go nice and wide here. And then, yeah, chariots are a good idea, but I recommend the regular chariots just so that you can maybe bring some more numbers. And then again, just more strength in numbers, we're going to bring the regular Marauder Horsemen because we have the access to armor sundering. You know, again, we want to try and take as much advantage as possible. You know, I actually may come in and cut one just so that I can grab a Feral Manticore, a nice terror-causing backline disruption, just generally good at hunting, especially units on the periphery, like Rangers, any kind of ranged units in general. Manticore's great for, so I may still yet fine-tune this a little bit, see if I can't squeeze a little bit more value here. You could maybe upgrade some of these Marauders to great weapons, but just because the Dawi in this matchup especially tend to focus so much on getting their value from ranged fire, then, you know, the shields, even on infantry, definitely matter. Chosen, it's worth noting, Chosen with shields have 60% missile block chance to small arms fire. That doesn't obviously apply to cannons, but against things like Thunderers and Rangers, that can make a huge difference, and is one of the reasons why, along with the reduced cost, that I tend to favor going shields. Of course, Big Bird himself, heavily missile resistant, so this is just going to make you a little bit more durable. Of course, the Manticore is also great for pressuring gyrocopters or bombers, so they don't necessarily just have free reign once they get rid of your counter-ranged units. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Definitely an interesting matchup, and historically going back all the way to Total War Warhammer 1, when both of the factions were kind of crap, it always has been a pretty interesting matchup. So definitely a fun time now. Both these factions are very good. Spoiler alert, in my tier list, they both did super solid, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, like, subscribe, hit the bell for more. Support on Patreon or through channel membership if you want me to be able to create more better content. And thanks again. We'll see you next time.